Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the 109th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with co-hosts Andrew Norman and Brandi S. And I gotta say something right now. I want to pause and give some gratitude for this blessed community that we are here. How lucky are we to get to make these podcasts, to share these ideas, just to be living the life we're living right now. You know?
Oh, that's crazy. It's crazy, man.
Blessed.
It's crazy.
We're like,
Yep.
I get to have my morning with you two doing this.
Right?
Like, I was literally just like skipping down my stairs, like, here I come.
It's humbling, man. It's humbling. Really. It really is. It really is.
And,
You know?
and I just feel so lucky. Like, man, I spent my whole life not feeling connected to people like I feel like to you guys.
It's
You
put
know?
a different
Right.
layer on my recovery. Like Brandi and I attend a lot of meetings together, and you hear this little rumbling because shit's happening, and we're doing a lot of these, and people are listening, and it's
Mhm.
really cool getting feedback and being in these meetings and hearing somebody in the parking lot being like, I just listened to the third acceptance podcast, like blah 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 blah. Like it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. It's really cool.
The,
Man.
the acceptance series is one of my favorites. Like, I'll roll back to the
Right.
first acceptance one any day of the week. Like, man, got a long drive. Here we go. Let's do some
It
more.
was the
segments.
first one that got me laughing my ass off watching it again. When
Yeah.
I watched it again, I'm
I
laughing
know.
my ass off. When
I
you're talking
know.
about breastfeeding the dog and all that shit, like it was just wild as hell.
Straight up.
I
Oh
think
my
that was
God.
the first one where like Brandi, like I'm listening to it and Brandi laughed so loud, I'm like pulling off my headphones and I'm listening to it because she laughed so loud. It was so fun.
I was like, what? Did I hear that? Oh man.
We-
I
And
gotta
watching
say
you-
another
Go ahead.
one that I still laugh about, if we just I guess talk about this for a moment, is when you, Andrew, said, what is it? I could dissect or make a fart complicated.
Complicated fart, man. We can
Yeah.
complicate a fart, bro.
Sometimes people just say things in a way that's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's so
I
funny.
get you.
Like, dude's right. He's right.
Yeah.
I'll get a fart.
I laughed about that for days.
I love
you
it.
guys. I'm
I
happy to
love you
start my
guys,
morning with you guys. I normally
Yeah.
will take a nap after I take my son to school. And so I choose you guys over my nap. But also I
Yeah.
feel like this would be a great way to start my day. And so
Yes.
I'm grateful for this morning. For sure.
Yes. We pulled it together last minute on this one, man. Pulled it
Yeah.
together last minute.
It's
works.
amazing. Somehow it just almost shared my screen, so it took my camera off there. I got a little discombobulated. So today's topic is discipline and appreciation for the fellowship. Two things which I really love, but I'm like, this is like eating a ham sandwich with jam. And
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
would you share what this means to you, Andrew, and why you're happy to discuss this here today?
Absolutely. Hell yeah, I will. So these two things are man, I kind of popped in with this topic last night. It kind of came into my head and I just threw it at y'all and both of y'all were willing. So thank you. Discipline, man, as it refers to addiction and recovery, right? As I was kind of thinking about it and writing things down, it's a structured and intentional practice of self-control, right? And adherence to a set of rules or behaviors that supports one in their recovery and staying clean, and it's not about punishment, right? That's what I was when I was really thinking about, like, discipline is not about punishing yourself. It's rather, it's like developing a healthy routine, a sense of control, that helps us resist triggers, right? Because we have a lot of triggers that come up, manage cravings, and overall making consistent healthy choices. Discipline will help us develop a routine, a steady, constant routine, and it helps us resist cravings and triggers. The overall healthy choices is going to come if you're disciplined, right? If you're staying clean and you're working a program and you're in here doing and taking some suggestions, um, good things will breed good things. So if you're staying disciplined um towards the right things and adhering towards that set of principles that we try to do, then we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. That leads into the fellowship, man. This fellowship is everything. It gave me a life. It gave me a community. It gave me a new
Yeah.
family. I have peer support now. I have friends. I have friends.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I was gonna have good friends, like friends without transactions. I didn't think I was
Friends.
gonna
Yeah.
have that, like
Right.
actual friends, and then they don't want anything out of me, and they're calling me on my
Yeah.
bullshit. And it's about those ones that you cry with today, man. Right?
Yeah.
Like we can laugh a lot in our lives, but you'll never forget those people that you cry with, man. And we do a lot of crying in here, and it's very therapeutic
So
to have people
true.
that love each other, man, in here. And I would do anything for you guys, man. You know what I mean? And I've never even physically met y'all, and I would go out of my way to do anything for y'all. And NA is this fellowship is my safe place. It's my safe place. And it gives me structure, guidance. I mean, there's so much that goes into this. I don't know how long we
Yeah.
got. Now that I thought about it, we could
Yeah.
do two podcasts, one on discipline, one on on appreciation of the fellowship,
I,
but that's okay.
I was like, this is like we're eating a big
That's right.
jam ham sub
Hey,
today.
yeah, we're
Jam
like,
ham
we're gonna
sandwich.
walk out. This is a all you can eat buffet today, guys. This is
Right.
the golden corral
Hope you
of
came here
podcasts.
hungry.
Love you guys. And I'll pass that to you, Brandi.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, you're right. So this is like such a dynamic subject on its own because of both, I feel like they go together. But I got to kind of say off of what you said real quick, was people in my fellowship, like you guys in particular, and like the people I've gained in my life, my recovery, some know me more than people I've known for years. And that's nothing against those people or whatever, but it's like it's just that space and that genuineness that I feel like I receive in the fellowship and with the group and individually with people. And that's such a
Yeah,
blessing,
yeah, man.
such a blessing. And yeah, happy to be here and be a part of something like this along with it.
I
So
love you, Brandi.
discipline and appreciation for the fellowship, so like I kind of went off of discipline at first too, because I feel like, um, like if do you appreciate something you don't have to work hard for, really? And so with the discipline, I had to look back and be able to see the appreciation. And I think it's important. It's super important. This program, whichever one you go to, have been around for so many years, and discipline was a big part of it, because and if you sit there and you name up all the stuff that you said about discipline, that's like the opposite of how we were in addiction, you know, the opposite. And I like to break rules. I'm better at not doing it today. And I always just thought like, rules didn't really apply to me. And it's okay. I can get away with it once, I still kind of have that attitude a little bit and I'm working on it. But but at the same time, it's like appreciation for it. I appreciate where I'm at today. And so if you can just put some discipline in there, some self-control, self-discipline, man, it really appreciate the hard work you put into it. And what better way to do it than with a fellowship that's doing it with you? And I think that's beautiful. I really do because like I didn't have any discipline, I didn't appreciate anything, and I didn't have a fellowship before. And what a amazing trio right there. I'm excited to talk about it more. So I'll leave it there.
Me too.
I think this is starting off like the pan is sizzling. I've never seen a jam ham sandwich fry up in a pan.
Me too.
But you know, okay, so discipline. Went to a guy's 58 year cake on Tuesday or
Wow.
Wednesday. Guy's 84. Got straight when he was 26. Like there was guys in there talking who had 35, 42 years, and this guy had been sober over 20 years when they came in. Like that's just insane. But the boy still goes to meetings. He still sponsors people. He like, he talked about the fellowship, like it's his family and his brotherhood. And I did a talk about discipline recently, and my whole life I thought like I really avoided a lot of things of structure in my life because I felt like it was a trap of action, like that it inhibited my quantity of free time,
Mm.
and consequently, like, somehow I was associating free time and freedom. And what I've come to see is that, the discipline to do things over and over, it creates freedom. And that freedom is created by the mental space that it creates in my brain. I don't have to wonder what I'm doing if I'm running my program every morning. Like this morning, I had zero questions in my morning. I can't turn that, but anyway, that's just my daughter calling my wife. Um, I got up and I did my readings, I did my gratitudes, and I exercised and I had breakfast, showered, came here, and my brain was free. Like I wasn't worried about was I doing the right thing. I wasn't worried about did I do the right thing. I wasn't like shit. Did I hurt somebody in the middle of that? Having the discipline to run a good program, it frees up so much of your mind. Like it is just one of the most liberating aspects of my life is that like I'm on autopilot, and then in autopilot that gives me time to think about the things that are really important and not the little
Good point.
chores and tasks in life and that's like quite honestly that's how I structure organization in my phone is that like I don't have to be the memory bank anymore as long as I just set up notifications, and then my mind is free to be right here right now, because I have the type of brain that if I don't have it in a calendar, I'm good at remembering stuff, but how am I good at that? I'm good at that by thinking, I gotta do this at 4, gotta do this at 4, I can't forget this at 4, can't forget this at 4. Hey, what are we thinking? Hey,
Yeah.
but what are we doing? Hey, I'm doing that at 4. Like, and so I'll be there at 3:45. Like, I'll be there at 3:45. But like, it's gonna take half my day's brain. I'm gonna be there at 4. Gonna be there at 4. And and then appreciation for the fellowship. I would say like that made me think right away when I saw that topic for myself. It's like that's like gratitude in action. I show
Mm.
appreciation for the fellowship by sponsoring, by chairing, by showing up early at a meeting, by talking to the newcomer, by if I see something that, like there's times where now it's I don't know if it's happening to you guys, but we'll do a podcast on something. I'll go into a meeting and I'll see somebody who's hurting on that subject. And I'll be like, hey man,
Mm.
do you want to talk after the meeting? I'm like, I heard something really good today from somebody about this. And I'm just
Yeah.
like,
I have.
like, man, it's
Yeah.
happening to me all the time. It's like, I'm sure tonight I'm going to go to a thing and it's, it's a big book study and it's going to be like discipline. And then
Yeah.
that'll be
No,
the
Yep.
I've
page
had,
that
Yep.
yeah.
It's crazy, bro.
Yep.
it's and so like I feel that part of us getting together here is supposed to happen so that we have more to give to other people.
That I know that for a fact. I know
Yeah,
that for a fact.
Yes.
I know that for a fact,
yeah.
without a
And I'm
doubt.
gonna leave it there because I think we're gonna have some awesome questions. And maybe Andrew, you
I
wanna
think so too.
you wanna start knocking them out of the park?
Yes, I would love to. So this is going to kind of open everything up. So we touched on discipline, but now in the context of our recovery specifically. So what does discipline mean to you in the context of your recovery, Brandi?
So discipline to me, my recovery is huge. I remember being in treatment and like I was saying, like I'm a bit of a rule breaker. And I remember I was telling this staff worker, I don't remember what it was, I must have been doing something. And I was like, yeah, I like to just break at least one rule a day. It just kind of keeps me leveled. And she's like, well, I'll see you when you come back here. And I was like, excuse me, you don't even know me. And I refer back to that in a lot of thoughts and talking about it because it's a big part of being able to function, is to be able to follow rules. And the rules do apply to me. And with that, I had to kind of do everything different, everything in that I wanted from my recovery, I had to do it in a disciplined way. And like you said, not in a punishment way. Like this is it's a functioning way. Like, and I'm big with like my dad's very disciplined and my mom's very not. And so I crave discipline, but I fight it at the same time. And
Ooh.
so I knew when it can be quite the dynamic, should I say. And so I feel like I do so much better with it. And so I stick with it. And I try not to be a stickler about certain things in the program because I do truly believe it's been around for so long because of the traditions, or the discipline. I'll just call it discipline, but you guys know what I mean, like the structure of it, and being able to follow through with it, be able to do things a certain way and do it repeatedly, and in the end, yeah, it definitely becomes a huge part. So I'm a lot more structured and disciplined. There's areas in my life I'm not very disciplined in, but I'm a work in progress. It's what it is. But today, like I don't try to break one rule a day. I try not to do that. I feel like it's not going to do me any good. Because really, it's a breaking a rule if I'm going to tell myself anyways. I did this. I'm sorry. Like I went to like the river around here, and they have, I don't know if you guys have where you guys live, they're called Discover Pass. So you have to like pay to park to go walk around. And I'm like, well, I'm a local. I'm like, well, I guess I'll be able to get away with it once and be like, I didn't know. And I did that a couple of times, a couple places, and I feel like I get away with it once. And I looked up, so I have a handicap placard. I'm handicapped. Well, those count as Discover passes. So this whole time I wasn't even breaking a rule either. And I did kind of feel
Oh,
bad about it.
Brandi.
I know.
Oh, Brandi.
I know. I was like, here I am being like a little bit defiant. And then it's like, wait, this was already, I didn't have to do that anyways. I thought that was pretty funny because it made me think about like, I don't need to do stuff like that today. And it's important when it's got to flow into my recovery, every aspect of my life, my marriage with my kids, it's a big part. So discipline is huge for my recovery, and I have to say again, it is not a punishment. There's not a punishment to it. You can be fully disciplined and not be stuck in the timeout corner. And
I
so
love that. You were trying to go
yeah,
back to your old addict way of doing things, and God had other places. Like, no, bro, I got a buffer zone for you, man.
right.
We got an easy
And
handicap pass here, buddy.
and when I said in my head, like, I'll get away with it once, like when you worked a program, like you get this little thing, like, I don't really know if I should do that.
It'd be like,
And
Oh, no,
I'll get away.
that feelings. I know I shouldn't do that. That's I
Yes,
don't really think.
yeah,
be like, I can get
yeah,
away with not paying my dope dealer this time.
right,
You know what I mean? Like
right.
you'll be like,
I
just
could
this
play
time
stupid
he'll be
once.
okay. He'll be okay. He'll act like he won't forget. He won't remember that $20. He won't remember that
Right?
$20 this time. Get out of
Right?
here,
And then
man.
it's
Get
all
out of
on,
here, bro.
God's just like, you don't have to be like that. Just park there. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. See, in active addiction, we would have had to do like 10 grimy things to make up for that and get that $20 back. Now
Yeah.
we're like, but God's like, bro, chill. You're not an addict anymore.
Yeah.
You're not
Right.
on drugs anymore, Randy. Go to your park and do your thing. I got
Right.
this.
There is no
Uh,
angles to principles.
No angles, bro. And they're
right.
never in
Yeah.
conflict. And they're never in conflict. So why not?
Yeah.
What else are you gonna do? So
Yeah.
all right,
That's a great
Mr.
question.
Milan,
I'm gonna need the question.
what does discipline mean specifically to you in the context of your recovery, Milan?
So, well, like I went in scared shitless, open-minded, and willing as fuck to treatment, and I left there a lot happier, a lot more joyous, and I was already seeing the results of a real structured program. Like that's one of the things that somebody shaking it hard at home doesn't get, the treatment center organization to your day. Like
Mm.
that was a really good thing for me because like my day start to finish was like hiding, using inside everything else, and everything else got pushed as far to the side as could for me to keep doing that. And so when I left treatment, I was really happy with how things are going. I wasn't desiring using, and I just stuck to my things. Have I added some things? Yeah, I have. But, like I call, my reassessment of my program. My relapse prevention program is like, oh, I saw you relapse. I have to assess my program and then I see where I'm weak. And I do that quite regularly because we see a lot of people relapse.
Mm.
And one of the things for me, though, is that I don't beat myself up about something I wasn't doing, but once I add something, it's got to be part of my thing. You know,
Yeah.
like I can't run a maybe program. I'm so absent-minded that if I don't do something for 2 days, I will forget that I ever did it. And somebody
Yeah.
will say something and be like, "Oh shit, I used to do that." You know,
We
like
are the same. I want you to know that.
yeah, like it's true though. Like it
Yeah.
takes such a small amount of time for me to completely forget something. And then I'm just like, well, I'm here now, and I'm like, why am I feeling restless, irritable, discontent? Uh, and so
Mhm.
yeah, like discipline to me means running the same program and planning my life around that. Like it really is planning my life around that, you know, and that's why, like, you know, we've had some scheduling issues, right? And it's like this guy's a creature of habit. Man, I just want to know we're doing something at a certain time, and then my life just gets filled in around that. And that is truly a way that brings me more peace and serenity into my
Yeah.
existence. You know, like because the chaos that it was before was just making me an anxious, nervous wreck by the end of it. And I want to be as far away from that feeling as possible now. And that's why when I was saying that the freedom that discipline gives, you know, a big part of the freedom that discipline gives for me is a lack of anxiety.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like absolutely. When I have shit, I'm rewinding and being like, "Fuck, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing?" Or like, "What am I gonna do now? What am I gonna do now? What am I gonna do now?" Those two things are like, man, that's a cycle of pain inside myself. You know,
It's less
Yeah.
baggage, right? You got less
Yeah.
baggage.
exactly. But you
You know,
know,
you're more
and that's
streamlined. You're streamlined.
this is
You're
this is this,
streamlined.
Yeah.
this is like boom, you know, and you're like boom.
You're just
Yeah.
flowing.
You just get in the car. You just get in the car, and it's like driving in a Tesla. Look,
Cruise
automatic
control in
drive, automatic
Arizona.
drive, man. Look,
Right?
automatic drive. I'm disciplined, bro.
Yeah.
I'm disciplined.
I'm,
Oh, I don't know
I'm
about you
cruising
guys.
on the highway of discipline
Yeah.
66.
And I don't need
Right?
any. I don't need gas. This is not a gas vehicle. I'm on
No, this
batteries,
runs
bro.
on love
It runs on
and
love.
acceptance.
Well, I love this. This is a great discussion though, man. Yeah.
10W30
Uh,
acceptance.
So you're right,
right?
man. It's not about like the punishment or perfection, right? Like, so to answer my question, what does discipline mean to me in the context of my recovery? It means choosing recovery behaviors, regardless of if I want to or not, showing up to the meeting when I don't want to, being disciplined to show up for myself is a big deal. And I have this written down. You'll like this. Discipline without gratitude can turn into obligation, and gratitude without discipline
Mm.
fades into complacency.
Ooh, I like that.
Let me say it slower.
That's deep.
Listen. Discipline without gratitude can turn into obligation. Gratitude without discipline fades into complacency.
So
Mhm.
That's
true,
deep.
though.
That's
That's
deep.
so true. That is
That's
deep.
deep. That's
Mm.
deep. I don't want to do things because I don't do things today. I used to, but I don't do things today because I have to. I get to do them today. Brandi,
Hmm. Yeah.
when I need God to tell me that in my head, it's your voice that comes through when I need that message in my head where it's like, nah, man, I'm not going to pick up my kid. I don't have to go pick up my kids. I get to go pick up my
You
kids
get
today.
to. Yeah.
Come
You
on,
know,
man.
dude, with
Yeah.
her, how free do you want to be? That's the voice I hear that in my head. I hear it
Yeah.
Bro,
in your voice, Brandy. But
freedom. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. Like God
Yeah.
speaks through people, and when I hear certain messages, it's because they hit different from certain people. And you have always kind of not instilled that in me, but you share your pain, Brandi. And when you talk about that shit, you're like, nah, like I don't have to go get my teeth pulled. I go get my teeth pulled. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a strong
Yeah.
girl right there. That's a strong girl working the
Right.
program. That's a strong girl working the program. She must be disciplined. So
Yeah.
one of these things that what is it, a misconception or preconceived notion or whatever. I do them because NA gave me a life that I never thought possible, and I'm learning that like structure is not holding me down. Like freedom comes through structure today for me, right?
Yeah.
Like structure, being able to be structured and not flying by the seat of my pants, seeing what sticks, lying, cheating, stealing, like that. Like I'm structured today. That's freedom for me. Freedom is choices for me. You know, if I don't use today, I have a choice. You know, freedom arrives at my doorstep in the form of choices every morning. Brandy, I have a
Yeah.
choice to go left or right. As simple as that, man. I have a choice to turn on the light switch or not. I have a choice to go get a cup of coffee or not. And we talked about this in the last podcast, Mr. Milan. It's kind of crazy. We don't really understand what we have till it's gone. Because like as soon as you can't pour that cup of coffee, that's the only thing you want, bro.
Yeah.
When you
Right.
can't go take a piss without somebody watching or listening to you, that's the only thing you want,
Or like
you
when you're
know?
camping and you got to go outside to go pee, but you don't want to get up, but all of a sudden you have to pee. It's like because I can't
That's
go.
all that you
That's the
want.
worst. That's the
That's all
worst.
that you
Yeah.
want, man.
I
You
just
know,
yeah, I just
so
want to
it's
go
kind of
home.
wild how our brain goes, damn, we could have done all these things like an hour ago, but now that we can't, we got to do them now. We got to do them now, right?
Yeah.
I think that rolls into our addictive personality and the addict behavior too. It's just like more, you know, fast, 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 go, 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 and then
More?
and then
What's more like?
Yeah. That's what I'm
so
addicted
so it's
to.
just crazy, man. You know, showing up for myself, being consistent, creates consistent patterns in my life, and people know what to expect out of me when I show up, man. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? They know what to expect out of me. They know that if there is no love in the room, they're gonna get splatted in the face with it. Just hit like, damn, Andrew's here. Andrew must be
Yeah.
here. Like, where's he at? I
Hashtag
don't even see him. Where's
LLA.
he at? Where's he at?
Yeah.
And so, man, I've developed a healthy routine. Part of my routine is being here with you guys, man, and talking about these things on
Hmm.
this platform, which is really, really special. Um, so yeah, I don't know where I was taking that, but that was my answer
I
to my
like it.
question.
I
I
So,
like
think it
it.
was
Brandy,
great. Brandy, you want to ask
Yep.
me a question?
I do. I do. I wanted to say one thing about what he said real quick though. Like when you were saying when certain people say things at certain times, like I really do feel like that's a way of like our higher power speaking to us through other people. And somebody, else could say something but when then like but the next person does and it just you feel it differently and it sticks with you. Because there are phrases or words that just from you two alone, but other people also that when I hear it, even if it's in the same contents or not, I think of you guys. And it's kind of like, oh, so that's like how my higher power is planting that into, what I'm doing. So
the
I just like that you
reality,
said
yeah,
that because
yeah,
it really is.
yeah.
Okay.
I so many times in my life right now hear what somebody said on one of these episodes when I'm like right at a specific point and I'm like, this ain't the right thing. This ain't the right
Yeah.
turn that shit around, boy. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
Step
Right.
10, Starcic. Step 10, Starcic.
step 10, step
That was
it's true.
great. That was
That's your
great.
new name.
I love that.
I love it.
I did, yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
How can the fellowship encourage and support a newcomer to embrace discipline as a tool?
Well, I would like to say gently, but that's not true.
Right.
I think the only way that they can do it really is to lead by example. You
Hmm.
know, I was lucky, like when and I liken the crew at my treatment center as the fellowship. I mean, I'm still part of, AA and NA with some of those people.
Hmm.
But when I walked in the door, they were 4 to 6 weeks ahead of me, every person that was there. They were all either just doing step 4 or even beyond that at that point. And like every single one of them, when it was the afternoon step work time, it was like silent, working, 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 and it wasn't an atmosphere of glum silence. Like it was like, but it was dedicated working time. And and that example to me, it was amazing for me because I was like, oh, that's what we do. We work hard and we love working hard on our steps. And that was exactly what I did because they led by that example. You
Hmm.
know, um, I think that sometimes there's a real consistency to the message. You know, I really think if you look at the literature, there's nothing that says take your time on the steps. be real thorough and take your time. Like, it does not say that. It's like we have a limited time window where our gift of desperation is going to keep us straight versus the universe pounding that down on us. And
Mm.
I think it's like us as sponsors, man, it's our responsibility to kind of prod people, to make the schedule, to give them deadlines, and I think it's okay. Like, I think it's like, hey, you need to do
Mm-hmm.
this by then. And uh, and part of it can not be placed on them like so much as saying, hey, this is how I like to work, and if you want to work with me, then we're going to work like this, and defining the
Yeah.
parameters of what you'll offer as a sponsor. Because I think it's like letting crazy take the wheel. If you let the sponsees drive the bus on what the hell's going on with step work. Like,
Oh,
it's
I've
just like,
experienced
hey,
both
let's
of
let the
those
person who
sides.
doesn't have a driver's license take over on how we're going to run this show. And
Yeah.
so I really think truly by example is the only way that we're going to instill that. And and that's like right now, I'm kind of I'm joining this one step group that's going to start up here, and I'm kind of going to do a step 4 simultaneous with one of my sponsees, and and we might read it to each other at this point,
Mm.
yeah. So I
I
think
like
that's
that.
it.
That's a great
Mm,
answer.
Let me know how that
It
works out, man. That
relates.
sounds cool. Sounds really
yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm. I
Well,
like
it's
it.
his second step 4 and it's my second step 4. So it's not
There
even
you
Nice.
go.
like, like I think if it was the first time through for someone, I don't think I would do it like that. But
Yeah.
on a second round, I really respect his ideas and his interpretation of the program. And
Mm-hmm.
and the feedback I think I'll get from him on a step 5 will be pretty honest, and
That's dope.
yeah.
And it
That's
says
dope.
to share it with like yourself, your higher power, and another person.
Mm,
So even though I think it's great that you obviously first time with your sponsor, but I've had people share theirs with me where I was just in the fellowship with them and not
mm.
necessarily sponsoring them or anything, not being
Yep.
their first time around. And so I think that's great. That's
My
great.
first sponsor wouldn't listen to you. Like, he was like, I don't want to know that. And I was like,
Mine sat
what?
with me for 4 hours
Bro,
He
that was the
eating
Jesus.
popcorn.
Your sponsors that I don't want to hear about your step 5.
he's
Yeah.
like, go pay a priest. He's like, we'll
What
be
the
better.
fuck?
He's like, we'll be better friends if I don't hear that. And I was like, I ain't going to priest.
Do you
I'm
still
like,
know that guy?
Yeah.
I
You still
still know.
talk to that dude?
Yeah.
Does he
But
sponsor people
yeah.
still?
Oh yeah.
Nuns.
Oh, look. Hey, we're about to work your step 5. Go talk to the priest, man. I don't want to talk about
Yeah.
it.
He like bleeps what you're saying.
He calls up the church and he's like, look, I got a sponsor here. I need to schedule a time to come in here and run this step 5 by
Yeah.
you, man. You got an hour and a
Hey,
half, 2 hours, man. He likes to write. Um,
hey, I guess it's with someone
that's
else, right?
awesome. That's
It's
really
another
awesome.
person.
Just don't tell
Yeah.
me I don't want to be sleeping with
I
your
was
shit.
like,
I
I'm
don't want
like,
to sleep
aren't
with
we
that shit.
supposed to have that kind of relationship?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
tell
what I
Yeah.
Chris
thought.
from New York what that dude. He would like go find that guy and be like, look, do you know how to sponsor? You need to know how to sponsor, boy. All right, cool. So ask me that question, Brandi, because I'm off.
Okay. It's okay. It's great. It's great already. All right. How can the fellowship encourage and support newcomers to embrace discipline as a tool?
You can go to the priest.
That's
No,
funny.
so you took the answer out of my mouth, Milan, in just a different way. But it's foremost coming into this thing. It's about living this program and living that disciplined life. It's not about telling them what to do, right? It's not about just talking about the recovery thing. It's about living it, leading by example. I try to be a walking, living, breathing example of what discipline and gratitude can do. You know, and in someone's life, when a newcomer comes up and sees me acting the way I act, they maybe want to know how that dude loves like that. How did he get those things? um and then obviously I don't have like a laundry list of things for them to do, but if they follow by example, ask me questions. I love talking about myself, guys. I love talking about myself. Just ask me. Ask me. I'm extremely accessible. If you see me in a meeting, I'm staying for the parking lot usually. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm usually there. So if you're in this lane, you know, come find me. I'll be willing to help you. It's part of my discipline today. So discipline shows up as through consistency. You got to stay consistent, especially as a newcomer, man. You got to stay consistent. There's something really, really magical that happens when consistency is added to the mixture here. We can do a lot of really good things, but if we don't mix it together, we're just kind of segmented, and it's really hard to bring those things together if we're not consistent. Because as we know, guys, I'll keep it on me. Like I can do really, really good for 6 months. I can do everything right, make all the right decisions for 6 months, and I can make one bad decision, and it fucks the whole thing. The whole thing's
Yeah.
that 6 months is done. And not only that, I'm behind the eight ball now, right? I'm behind where I even started. So, and that's like the manifestation of me being that master procrastinator, man. It's like procrastination times 10, you know, on steroids. So it's just a way for me to, you know, get myself out of a situation or differentiate myself out or see that fail stage before it even starts, man. So got to stay consistent, you know, consistent with showing up, consistent sharing, right? Sharing about your problems when you have an issue, you got something on your head. Don't be like, I don't have anything nice to say or great to say, bro. That's when you got to share, you know. And we
Mm-hmm.
say that a lot, like the most uncomfortable times that you don't want to share, please share. Please
Yeah.
share it. You'll breathe better after you get done. You'll feel better
Yeah.
a lot of times. So you know, the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. And we talk about this all the time, man. Sharing, honest sharing at meeting levels is the antidote, right, to our disease thinking. It's our medicine today. You're telling me coming on
Yeah.
here and running my mouth about my shit is I don't have to go to the pharmacy anymore, and I can just come in here and run my mouth, and that's therapy for me. Okay. All right. You know, take these suggestions. You know, they're some people call them subtle commands, you know, because the only suggestions we pay for are the ones we don't take. Um,
Mm.
so just, you know, dare to get a little uncomfortable. You don't stay clean just by chance. This is an action program, bro.
Yeah.
They talk about when you read into the steps. I think it says in every step this is an action step. It's like this is an action step. This is an action step. This is an action step. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
step up on that step. You got to take action. You can't just go, okay, I'm lily padded on this step here. Like you got to take some action, man. We're not just gonna pass out, get into step 4, and just go to sleep. It's time to get to work. So, um, I'm done.
I like
Sizzled.
it. I like it. Sizzle. All
Sizzle.
right. How can the fellowship encourage and support newcomers to embrace discipline as a tool? Um, well, like both you guys hit a lot about on what I would think of it too is, I never thought discipline as like a positive tool, at least not for me. Like maybe discipline on me, would be like a tool for someone else, but today it's like it's lead by example, and like definitely the way of supporting is like how you're saying, like we can, we just suggest things here, and not everybody takes suggestions, and that's okay because not everybody gets it the first time, and so just support them and embrace them when they need it the most, to be able to tell them what you did. That's one thing I also like to talk about myself. And and not only that, like because I didn't for so long. And like I still am awe sometimes, like the fact that I've made it this far in my recovery and the amount of growth and tools that I've had. Like I want to share it with the next person. I want to like be able to share my experience even when I didn't get it right. And like back when I was in treatment and that lady said that to me, I remember that next night or something like that. I brought some hot cocoa back to my room. You're not supposed to have any drinks in your room. And I freaking
Ooh.
spilled the hot chocolate on the carpet. And I was like, Brandi, this is why you don't break rules. And so thank God the carpet was brown, and so it was undetected, but it was like my higher power's like, you don't have to do this, like it's a good reminder. And so, even little stories like that, is a big one, is just to share because, people maybe, don't want to just hear that, like everyday life, I discipline. It helps me in all angles, but especially in my recovery, because that does trickle out to everything. And Milana, I like how you spoke about how, like having timelines and stuff like that. Like it's, you don't want to take a long time to do your steps at all. I think as long as you're working on it, that's important. But also that can be taken advantage of in a way of like, well, I wrote a half a sentence today. That's not what that is. It's, you want to be able to be able to get through it in a timely manner. And I do really well with timelines, deadlines. I finally, like a few months into my recovery with my sponsor, I was like, will you just tell me when it's going to be due? Because otherwise, if I just get to it, I'm just going to get to it. And that's the best thing. And so that's a big discipline for me because I do procrastinate also. Actually, I'm meeting my sponsor today and I saw her 2 weeks ago and I'm finishing my homework after this podcast. So, but I'm getting it done. So
Tell her I love her.
and yeah, I will. She's amazing. She's so
We need to
amazing.
have her back on.
Yeah, but
There's
she's
no way to-
moving. So she'll literally be
Zoom
my
moves
virtual.
everywhere. Zoom
Yes,
moves
Well, that's the
everywhere.
thing. When she's like, I'm moving, I said, that's okay.
Zoom's faster.
Yeah, we can meet online anyway. So, and but I have another sponsee like that, and she's my favorite. And but don't tell anybody I said that. And
Love her too.
y-
Love her too.
I love her. And she had said one time, like, I think maybe I just need to like have a timeline, like when it needs to be done. And so being able to support her and finding the discipline without me like, throwing it at her, it was amazing because and since then it's been on that day whenever we decide to do it. And discipline keeps things flowing. And like, I don't remember what you said that was so powerful, Andrew, but it was like, you don't want to get complacent because if you're not disciplined on something, you could just be okay with being mediocre, be okay with, well, I'm not using, so that's okay. But yeah, okay, there's so much more to recovery than just not using. It's the growth. Like, how do we get to tomorrow? How do we get through tomorrow? And and discipline is a huge tool. Something I fought for my whole life. Like, I don't want to be disciplined. Like, I don't. I want to be able to do what I want to do, even if it's spur of the moment. Like, and today, I don't want to live like that. And in the way of like, I like structure. Like even if I was to meet with a sponsee and it's 1 hour out of the day, I have planned everything around that day, around that hour. And it's important, like I want to be able to do the things that I say I'm going to do. And with that, it helps my recovery. And if it's a part of helping someone else, I think that's pretty amazing. So don't ever be afraid to not get it right the first time, but just get up and try it again. Like maybe you didn't mark everything off on your to-do list. Just maybe add some stuff to the next day and try to get, one more thing done than you did the day before. And I feel like if you can work your recovery in that way, and honestly, I think you can get somewhere. You definitely make it to tomorrow and hopefully the day after.
In a just for a day program, that's enough. That's enough.
Exactly.
That's
And
enough.
that makes it a lot. Yeah. It's, I just need to be, disciplined on what I'm doing and embrace the tools that I have today.
And Brandi, I think
discipline makes those chores easier. Man.
Very, very much so.
It really does.
Very much so. Like, and once you're disciplined, it's easier to stay disciplined too. Like, you know what I mean? It's easier to stay in that way.
Yeah, like routine takes the struggle out of it for me in a huge way. I can be doing something way harder every single day, but if it's just a patterned action, it just becomes what I do. Some days I feel like I don't wake up till I'm an hour and a half into my program, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it's like half subliminal reading is probably adding some little, subconscious spirituality in there.
Staying clean while you're doing it, you're doing all right. And real quick, Milan, I think what you were looking for, Brandi, is discipline without gratitude can turn into obligation. Gratitude without discipline fades into complacency. That's what you're looking for.
Yes. And that's so what it is. It really is. I love it.
Okie dokie, Jason, go to a Priestley.
I saw that.
Like I'm on Dawson's Creek here or something. Come on, man.
No, it's 90210.
So funny.
Same thing.
Discipline in recovery is not about rigidity. It's about devotion to the life we no longer want to lose. What specific daily discipline helps you protect your life you're building in recovery?
Oh, man. Service and going to meetings, man. I go to meetings. I go to a lot of meetings. It helps keep me disciplined, man, because when I show up to a meeting, I have a role there at that meeting. A lot of times, especially if I'm a trusted servant at that meeting, that kind of blends the two. It blends service with the meeting. Guys, if you're struggling staying clean, you're kind of new to this program, get in service, please. Please get in service
Game
somewhere.
changer.
It changes your life. It'll keep you
Yeah.
clean. It'll show you it'll show you how to love. It'll show you how to go through things. It changed things for me. It made me want to show up. It gave me purpose. It gave me purpose when I didn't have purpose. I was like less than 90 days and I was struggling to go to job interviews and get a job, and I threw myself in service, and it made me proud of myself. Bro, I
Yeah.
was proud of myself, man. Run in a meeting.
Running a meeting is a freaking awesome opportunity.
It is.
And it's not about control. It doesn't even matter who we are. It's just about being there for the fellowship, and the love that you receive as a host at a meeting, as a chair of a meeting. You receive so much love because it's just what we do. It's what we do. We
Yeah.
appreciate service here. We
Mm.
appreciate service. We understand that service is a posture of the heart, right? Posture of the heart's love. Being of service to this community and this fellowship that will never let you down, right? These people, people are flawed. People let you down. This fellowship won't let you down, man. These books, these
So
readings,
true.
it won't let you down. It will not let you down. You're looking for the reasons why it's going to work. They're everywhere, bro. But if you're looking for reasons why it's not, you ain't going to work. It's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
It's about our mindset. It's about staying disciplined towards something healthy, a new way of life today. Not disciplined to, bro. I was so disciplined in my active addiction, but in the wrong way. Bro, I
Yeah.
was as disciplined as you could get because I was running on survival mode. I was running on complete survival mode every day for years, decades. And that shit'll fuck you up, man. Shit'll fuck you up.
It was killing me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think
Hmm.
I'm done. I think I'm
Yep.
done. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Brandi, or should I say, Friedel?
Yeah.
Discipline in recovery is not about rigidity. It's about devotion to the life we no longer want to lose. What specific daily discipline helps you protect the life you're building in recovery?
Well, for me, I'll go to the straight obvious and then more detail. I'm not using,
Yep.
definitely. And that discipline and that itself is something that with my recovery and my fellowship and being able to work on honest recovery makes it more of a box I check off, not like, it's not a struggle like it was for even in the beginning. But, a big thing is staying staying accountable to myself is a big one, and then to other people, and being of service is huge. And maybe like I don't do service like a service position every day, but I try to be of service to an addict any day that is needed, any moment that is, like I was not one to answer a phone or call someone back. And I make sure that I do that because I feel like that is discipline, like when you're not a big phone person and you have to like grumble before you answer it. And with that, like I don't feel like it feels like that anymore. And so I need to make sure that I stay in the program, in my recovery, all the time, but not, and it's not a consuming way. It's like I wear my recovery jacket every day just to make sure, I don't get rained on. And like Andrew was talking about, like with service, like especially when it's funny when people say thank you for keeping the room open, and I'm like, I'm just here as another addict, and I'm working slides, and I'm happy to be here too. Thank you for saying that. And it does because it makes you, the feeling a part of, like I grew up not feeling like I felt just isolated but ostracized at the same time. And didn't think that I could have any ability to run anything, let alone my own life. And to be a part of something like that is huge, and it really does help me with being able to stay disciplined. Because there's a lot of times I don't want to do it. I say this, well, the nights that I do it, I'm like, every time I'm like, because it's always right after I eat dinners when I host. I'm like, I wonder if so and so would host for me. And I get these thoughts in my head, and then I get in there and I start hosting, and then clean time happens, and I'm just like, okay. Yep, this is the feeling that I was forgetting about before I came in here. But I got to be able to stay present in my recovery, and discipline's a huge part of it, because I don't know how to do that. It wasn't not used to it. I'm not used to putting my well-being and my recovery first before anything in my day. And so that's a big one. Like I gotta self-care, and that's mentally, physically, and recovery, because without those kind of tools, I would be running off of my own will, and that's really what got me in here. His will is what keeps me in here. So it's a daily staying in it. There's not a day I wake up and I'm like, I just don't feel like I'm gonna be an addict today. I'm just gonna do whatever today.
I love
And
you, Brandi.
I love you. So, staying in it, reminding myself, staying in service,
Mhm.
and constantly doing things like the next right thing. That's a big thing too, because that takes discipline also. So that's my answer.
I love that. You're awesome. I'm so grateful for the times we spent together here.
Yes, me too.
Discipline and recovery is not about rigidity. It's about devotion to the life we no longer want to lose. What specific daily discipline helps me protect the life I'm building in recovery? You know, that for me is, the life I no longer want to lose. And that's one part of that statement, like I really didn't give a shit near the end in my addiction. Like I was like, I'm going to live or die doing this. Oh, I'll give it a go. Like it was like 50-50, going to make it. Well, let's
Yeah,
go.
crazy, right?
And so I think one thing, for anybody who's new or out there or hasn't listened to other episodes on this, we had Tommy Smith on here with the Great Resurrendering of March 2025. It's like BC AD in
Yeah,
timeline. The Great
yeah, bro.
Resurrendering changed my
Bro,
recovery forever.
bro, the Big
And
Bang Theory, bro. It
yeah,
happened.
and but I just want to say to somebody who's new out there, if even if you're at step one or if you just passed step one, never forget that surrender is the ultimate tool and aspect of this program that's going to help you all the way through every single day. It's
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
it's like if you
it's so
forget
true.
that surrender, you're probably living in a defect, shortcoming, and discontent. Right there,
yeah,
right
yeah.
there,
Absolutely.
and so right now, the Harry God box, no plugs. I'm not selling them online, but
Yet, yet.
but I do start my day. I do start my day surrendering stuff that I'm really not content about in the Harry God box. Like I'll sit there and I'll do my morning gratitudes, and then I'll turn to the HGB, and at the HGB, I got my piece of paper and I just start writing out stuff. I'm like, whoa, yeah, coming up, whoa, already here, like, whoa, yeah, and then I'm like, tear it off, squeeze it up, drop it in, and now I'm moving on to a clear day because I'll let that shit go. I'm
Yeah,
surrendering that stuff right off the bat in the morning, and then the other step to that for me is, I just said I start my day with the gratitudes. It's the gratitudes and the praying gratitudes. That whole surrendering of my expectations through gratitude and prayer is probably like the most transformative part of my program that I've experienced yet. You know, it's almost like it's almost like that feeling I got from my first step five. It's almost like giving me like a chunk of that every single day, and
yeah.
and
It
it's
has it has elevated my game, if you will, in this recovery thing. And I was telling Milan last podcast, Ms. Brandy, the whole surrender thing. Since I've really been able to tap into what that can do for me, made long term recovery a little more feasible to me.
it takes
Right?
Mm-hmm.
it takes away the plateaus.
I was already light coming into
Yeah.
this thing. I got a little over 3 years clean. Like I work a real good program, bro. I like I'm
Yeah,
already light, right? And I've got a God in my life, but that literally just like made me even like it just made me even lighter, man. I'm like flying in the clouds now, man.
it takes the
It's
limits of our self will out of it. It takes
bro.
the limits of our
Hmm.
self will out
It's
of
a
it.
lot less writing down shit. It's a lot less of everything, man. Just surrender that shit, bro.
Yeah.
God's got you.
It's a lot
Right?
more
Come on,
writing for
man.
me with this Harry God box, but I can understand Andrew doesn't need to write it down. He's got the photographic memory. He's writing it down in his mind. But
Right.
for me, I'm going through pens like you ain't ever seen. But I'm not holding on to it. So
Yeah.
I'd rather use a liter of Indian ink than a lifetime of my soul.
Whatever your process, make that shit happen, young man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, because this is your life. This is your life, bro. Like, you want to go back to living under a bridge, or you want to write a little bit?
But like,
Come on,
odds
man.
are, if you're sitting unhappy, right? It's because you haven't surrendered something. It's because you think you should have something you don't have, or that
Control.
somebody's taking something that you
Yeah.
should, or like, and it's all built around something that you're creating, that discontent. And for me, sitting there saying, I want to be less angry. I want to be less anxious. I'm going to get rid of this. That was not working, man. But
Yeah.
surrendering it is like a game changer. It's like how I thought I'd never spend a day not thinking about substances. And now it's just like, whatevs. Whatevs.
Yeah.
You know what surrender is like? It's like learning how to float. Imagine when you were a young child and you were in the water and you were trying to learn
Yeah.
how to float, and you're like flailing about. You're trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
your body float. Think about this. When you
Yeah.
finally learned to let go,
No, that's a beautiful analogy, man.
You
You just
start
think
floating.
about that?
I've heard that a long time ago. It just popped into my brain.
That's great. I like that.
That's a good
I
one.
think about as a child, I used to watch my mom like float in the pool. I'm like, how the fuck is she floating? I'm like, as a kid,
Yeah.
like, how is she doing that? And she just would like explain it to me. And as a kid, you don't understand what backing down and letting go of
Yeah, because the
something.
water gets
Like,
to right here
like
and
a-
you start to panic.
Yeah,
You
then
just let
you're
go.
like flailing about and you're going under more because you're trying to control what's going on. Let go. You gotta
Yeah.
let go.
Yeah.
Just let that
You know,
shit go.
that's
You start
therapy.
floating.
People do like free floating therapy, and they say it's one of the most like one of the times in their moments of life that they feel completely nothing, like in a good way, like no
Yeah, the
stress,
sensory
no.
deprivation tanks.
We can start a
Yeah,
surrender
yes.
therapy. Surrender therapy floating in the
Yeah.
water.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Right?
Let's do it. With a bunch of little hairy God boxes all around the pool.
And
Just
no,
drop it in
no
there.
children are drowned in this exercise.
We're just learning how to let go, and then writing on a piece of paper, and then putting it in the next hairy God box as we float
Right?
along.
Right?
Bloop, bloop,
That's great.
bloop.
That's funny. With the Shirley Temple on our hand. Man.
Yeah. Okay, I think you asked Brandi a question now.
All right. So let's see. What spiritual principles helped you stay disciplined today, Brandizzle?
Oh man, I was just gonna just go straight to honesty because uh like I can tell myself anything, like I did like, well, I can do this once, and so being honest with myself and with other people helped me stay disciplined in my recovery, because I could frolic and do whatever, really. That's how I did my using, if nobody knew about it, if I didn't tell you about it, if I left that out, it wasn't really what it was. And and like I can do really good in something, and once I don't a little bit, like, and I feel it slacking, or me doing something different, I have to start all over. And with that, it's like it's also me not pretending that I've got all my shit together, I maybe have some shit together more than other shit, but at the same time, it's like it's okay that I'm still in the learning process, and to be able to be honest about how I feel about things, what I'm going through, to be able to talk about the things that I feel good about also. So, honesty is a big one. And what else would I say also would be willingness, because I wasn't willing to do things in a way that maybe was a proven path that worked. Instead it was like, well, I think I just would rather do it this way. And so I gotta be able to be willing to do things in a structured way that has worked for so long that it can work for me. Like we are all disciplined, but I think at the same time, I mean, that's our goal, at least. At the same time, our level and maybe even what got us to discipline is different, It's not like all of our paths are the same, but we all make it work for our life, our scenarios, and like, but we learn it from each other also. I think that's really cool the way it is. Even with appreciation, I think that it's, we all have appreciation. We hope to. I hope we all do at one point at least. And but we all got there, and we all appreciate different angles of it, differently. And I think that's great. But yeah, willingness, honesty, um, love is a
Why are you
big
taking
one.
all my answers, Brandy? Are
I
you
know,
cheating off
right?
my test? Are you cheating on my test? Are you looking at my paper?
Oh, hashtag LLA
Dang,
up in here.
dang, cheating off my test.
So
Damn it.
yeah, but yeah, those, and those are a big one even and for me for daily, because it's learning a new way of life. And I would have never thought to be honest or willing. And I threw love around, I threw it around like it was like, hi, bye. And it may sound like that sometimes because you say it a lot, but it means different today. And sometimes you got to put a lot of discipline into loving people. I'm just gonna say
Yes, you can
that.
say that again.
Yeah. And I've kind of going off of that real quick. I was talking to somebody else about like loving people and like, how I'll just say it right here, like how you, Andrew, have like kind of helped me, who's someone who's loves everybody, look at it. Because I don't want to be fake. And I can say I love everybody, but I don't like everybody, right? Okay, well, but I say I love you to people that I don't like. Well, it's because as one addict to another, I fucking love you.
We're
And
helping
I
each
can
other.
say that. Yeah, and I can say that without feeling like I'm being like, man, that bitch. Oh, I love you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I felt conflicted until I really kind of dissected it more and was talking to someone else about it. It's like that's what it is. And
Yep.
that takes discipline. It really does because I could have just gone about my day and kept saying, "Well, yeah, I love you," but I had to really think about it because I want to make sure what I'm saying is what I'm feeling and not just like an automatic.
It's
So
beautiful, man.
yeah. So with that little, side topic on the end, that's it for me.
I love
I
that. I
love
love
that.
that. Are you ready, sir?
I certainly am. I just want to say on like how Brandy was talking about appreciation on their second last part. I love and appreciate you guys,
Oh
and I'm
man.
grateful
Ditto.
to be here.
Did you say ditto?
Ditto.
I was just gonna say that.
Ditto. You can say
Ditto.
ditto twice.
He
Ditto.
stole your answer.
He
Pinch spoke, you owe me a
did.
Coke. Pinch spoke, you owe me
Right?
a Coke. So what spiritual principles help you, Milan, stay disciplined today?
Boom. Well, I mean, the spiritual principle of discipline helps me stay disciplined.
Mm,
The spiritual principle of commitment. Like commitment to me and discipline are, man, I would say it's impossible to have one without the other one
mm,
in some way. Perseverance. Perseverance is one that for sure, like, um, I'm not always good up here in my head, you know, but I know that if I just keep pushing forward on the same things that I do to stay straight, that probably tomorrow's going to be a better day after a day where I'm having a bad day.
mm.
And, prayer and surrender and gratitude, man, like thanks, I guess, is gratitude a spiritual principle?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so yeah, like I mean, like surrender and gratitude are one of the things that keep me in my cycle day after day. Like, I literally tried to push my thoughts to gratitude as the first thing I do after peeing in the morning. Okay, that's and I have a lot of friends that I share gratitude list and I'm not feeling a gratitude list. And I'm like, that's exactly why you do it. Like it's like saying like I don't have gas in my car because I won't go to the gas station.
Yeah.
Like it's like whoa, you're never going to get gas. Like gas ain't magically coming. You
Yeah.
know, like
Right?
like
Yeah.
there is so much. If for anybody who's new in this program, like I feel like there's so much that you do to build the feelings and the life that you're going to get, and it's obviously not going to already be the shiny diamond that you become right away. Like we're really scarred and obscured from our addiction and from our lives, and it takes some work to polish that diamond for it to
Yeah.
shine from inside us. And if you're not seeing the results, I would honestly have a really close look at consistency and application. you know and that rolls
Yep.
right into discipline. Like, consistency of application is almost like 90% of a good program.
Yeah.
Like,
Love that.
you don't
Love
have
that.
to do a
It's
lot.
true.
You don't have to do a lot. But man, you start picking and choosing what days you're going to be grateful, what days you're going to surrender, what days like, then all of a sudden, what do you got? You got a program with holes in it. Oh, like, I'm good
Yeah.
Tuesday, but Wednesday sucks, and then Thursday, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's just not like, you don't see an athlete training and just being like, yeah, I'm gonna kind of run whenever and hope I'll win the game on Saturday.
Right.
Like, there's a structure to it, and like, think of every single action that builds something in this world, because we're building our recovery, right?
Mhm.
Like, you don't just kind of like, I'm gonna put a pile of boards over there, throw some nails at it, we're gonna have a house.
Right. Yeah. We're gonna
Like, I might show up
forget the
on Tuesday,
foundation.
I might not show up
Yeah.
at all. And then for the roof, I'm gonna throw a shingle in the air and shoot a nail gun at it. We call it good.
You like don't look, you throw it behind your head. And you're like, it'll
Yeah,
land, it'll land.
it'll land.
Yeah.
But like,
God.
we're building something, and ultimately, we have an instruction manual for this program.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what 10, 12 step program you're in. I have no cares. I think they're all involving steps that will change your life.
Bro, it's our practical means, man. It's our practical
Yeah.
means. If you do this, you will get
The
this,
rest
right?
of your life does not have an instruction booklet like this program does.
Man.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like, you have to put a lot of thought in it, but you also don't. Like, you also, like,
It's
could be
laid
like,
out there for
you're
you.
just like, hey, what's next? And then you do what they say next, and you're like, still straight.
Bro,
Wonder,
it's life.
wonder
It's
why.
life. What else are you
Wonder
gonna
why.
do? What else are you gonna put stock into? It's your life.
Yeah.
It's everything you
I always
got,
think
man.
of like, what's the alternative? Like, if you
Well,
don't
what are you
want to do
gonna
this,
do?
what's the
Yeah.
alternative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, we've been
Yeah.
sticking
Yeah.
our head in that
Man,
in that hole for a long time, man. Not noticing what's going on around us. It's time to get
I
out of
think I
that.
got real sidetracked on that
Yeah.
answer, but I think I said some good
I
shit, so I'm
like that.
okay with
Yeah.
that.
You did some
That was
amazing
good.
shit. Some amazing shit.
That was
So
really
to
good.
answer my question, what spiritual principles do I to help me stay disciplined today? Well, you kind of took them all from me, and I'm okay with that. The how of this program: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. Um, keep me in line, disciplined, right? Got to stay honest. If we're playing a video game, obviously willingness is the next layer of that. Early in recovery, I didn't know what I needed to do, but I was willing. I had to be willing.
Mm.
Humility is another one that leaks in there. Humility keeps me grounded, man. It keeps me understanding that I can ask for help when I need some help. It keeps me tapped into my sponsor, who taught me a lot about humility. And commitment's a big deal, man. Commitment's what ties this whole thing together. This
Yeah.
is a lifelong commitment to myself and to my well-being, and to being a better person than I was yesterday, and trying to layer that up, right? And so I was thinking about this, awareness is the foundation of change, right? I got to be aware, right? If I'm aware, I can stay disciplined in the right lane and stay going where I want to go. And then self-acceptance, guys. Look, self-acceptance. If I can accept myself, I'm not fragile, right? I'm going to hit this
Yeah.
all the time. Look, I'm relating to my one self. I'm being able that discipline piece. If I'm relating to myself and I'm not trying to evaluate myself constantly, is a lot easier to stay in, because I'm not like fumbling around trying to figure out, do I look good? People pleasing, right? Am I like on the outward piece, right? There's a lot that goes into that. If I'm accepting of who this dude is today, me being disciplined towards staying that way is a lot more streamlined, man. It's a lot more
Mm.
easier to stay into. There's positive effects to that part of it when I'm accepting of myself. If I'm trying to like build some self-esteem on the basis of like what I think you're thinking, man, I'm a fragile dude. I got mixed up,
Yeah.
it's contingent on circumstances on how you feel, which I'm building self-acceptance. I'm staying disciplined. I'm accepting who I am. There's no fluff, man. There's no fluff. And
No
then love,
fluff.
love, love. We can't build a house on sand, guys. You just talked about building a house. Foundation of love. Man, I have the most badass foundation ever built on love. Love and then humility holds the whole shit together, right? Bricks of love, mortar of humility, and I got about 700 roommates
Yeah.
in my
That's a big
house. You know what
house.
I mean? No, I probably got like 30 real roommates, and then I got like 700 virtual roommates. Let's just say that.
There you go.
Because that's what this Zoom thing has opened me up to, man. I can go on and get tapped into another addict. The best way out of my head, my diseased and my depressed thinking is a simple conversation with somebody else, man. Doesn't even have to be
Yep.
another addict. It could be my neighbor.
Yep.
I've said that before. You could, about cutting the yard. I'll be out of my head. All right, I'll pass it.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, Brandi, you got a question for me?
I do. I do. What is an example that discipline has brought you to appreciate the fellowship?
What is an example of discipline? Oh, okay. Like of something discipline brought me.
Yeah.
Okay. What it is, I would say, is patience.
Mm.
Like discipline has made me understand that I need to go through some uncomfortability over and over and over in order to grow, and that it's not coming now.
Yeah.
And so that's given me some patience for the process that I really was. I was a now more person forever, and right now I'm pretty happy with the changes that are happening inside my life. Like overall, I would say like 90% contentment on that.
Mm.
And and I don't like I know that there's more good to come, but I don't need that more right now. Like I'm like content where I'm at, and that's making me more patient for the best that's yet to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I'm
That's
really
dope.
feeling it. Like it's amazing. I'm like I really I'm looking forward to the new challenges, which never was the case. The
Right?
challenges were always like, fuck, I can't believe this is happening to me.
Again.
Such a sucky little
Right.
jerk.
Doing this again. God
Yeah.
dang it, man.
I'm so pity
I
party.
never
I got a pity
I
party
never
for
thought,
you.
right? Or professional pity party planner.
Ooh, I'm
Yes.
I never
it's a
thought
pity
that I
party.
would that I
I
would
pick a
be
pack of pickled pity
grateful.
patties.
Say that 5 times.
I pick a pack of pickled pity patties. I pick a
Now
pack
we
of pickled
hang
pity
out.
patties.
Now we hang out in Candyland and ride around on fluorescent pink clouds and shit,
Come
man.
to
What the
Candy
fuck?
That's
Mountain.
right.
Turn.
Come
That
on,
is
man.
right.
Come
That's
on, man.
right. All
Your
right,
question is
Andrew,
where we at? Yes.
I'm gonna ask you, what is an example of a discipline, or what are some examples that discipline has brought you to appreciate the fellowship?
Wow, that's a great question. It gave me a lot of things I never had before, Brandy. It gave me self-worth, right off the bat, right off the top of my head, it gave me self-worth. And integrity. That's a tricky little word. For the first time in my life, I feel like a man of my word, man.
Mm.
You'd never been able to say something like that, and be able to look somebody in the eye and be like, I understand that we might be in a conflict, but I have not lied to you, and let's try to tackle this going forward in a productive way, in a constructive way. I'm ready to burn the house down in active addiction. It's not like that anymore. I have
Yeah.
that pause button. I got a pause button, bro. I can pause, back up, think about how this is going to affect me and my family, my job, and what I want to do, and my goals, and my clean time. How's this going to affect my clean time? That's the most important thing that I need to think about in
Mm.
any situation. Is if it's fucking with me, like I got to step back and go, is this going to affect my clean time? And because if I'm starting to think that way, it's something I really got to pause and think about, because not much gets me to that place anymore. So I'm someone that y'all can count on me. Before this act of before coming to recovery, you couldn't count on me for shit. unless it was that
Right. Yeah.
transactional, like I owe you money, you owe me money, or drugs or whatever, man. It was a miserable way to live. I have emotional stability today, Brandi. I used to be a slave to my emotions. I'm no longer a slave to my emotions anymore, man. When I was sad, I used. When I was happy, I used. When I was anything, I used. Right? Because not using wasn't an option. Because when I didn't use, my body and those feelings of withdrawals or whatever it is, of loneliness, all that shit that rains down on you, took over all that other shit, man. I didn't have it. I didn't have an option at that point. When
Mm.
we start losing, when we don't have our drugs, or we lose sight of having enough drugs for the foreseeable future, we have a problem. We have a big
Yeah.
problem. Rutro. It's time to get jiggy with it, right? So now I don't, bro. I'm so grateful to not be able to have to be in that spot. And when I am, it's like in a healthy way, because I maybe forgot to buy somebody Christmas presents or something. Like that's when I get those feelings today. Not because like I haven't called Ralph in a couple weeks, and hopefully he's not locked up. Hopefully Ralph ain't locked up,
Oh man,
because
right.
he's my only connect.
Right.
Come on, man. Come
Right.
on, man. Fuck Ralph. I'm sorry. So I had to look, and then the most important, I have a spiritual connection today. I am spiritually tapped into the God of my understanding. I know what surrender means, man, and I'm learning every day that it's more and more important to me, because my shoulders are not as wide as I thought they were. But you know what?
Mm.
God's got me, bro. God's got the widest shoulders that, bro, he can shoulder the whole shit, man. He made the shit, right? So
Right.
so I understand that he has put this disease in my life to put me in a position to be better today. So I'm grateful for that. And he put step work in my life to be able to step work process into every day being a better dude, being a better man, being a better human. And then when I'm not, I've got like these little buffer zones and people around me that are like, bro, what are you doing? Like, check yourself. Or,
Yeah.
things will hit me in the back of the head. I get a little peanut thrown in the back of my head, like, bro, what did you just say? Like, I have things in my life that check me today, man. I'll get a Mitch cup check in the balls, cup check, and I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? So that was my answer. That's my answer. I'm done.
I like
That was
it.
a
I
good
like
question.
it. That was a good answer. So for me, examples of discipline has brought me to appreciate the fellowship. You know, what came to my mind at first when I was thinking about this was like being of service, and when there's those business meetings, and we all have the same outcome that we want goal, but like to be able to be in there and not be like selfish on my own feelings and how I think something should be, and being able to be open about what's for the best of something, and being able to collaborate with other people and come to an understanding. And because for me, like I thought whatever feelings I had when I was in active addiction, like that was what it was. And that's how it was going to be forever and how it's always been. And there was no, like, trying to tell me different, especially if, oh man, especially if it was like some crisis. It was like, oh, woe's me for the rest of my life now. So to be able to get out of myself and not be selfish on how I think things should be, or let my emotions drive me, and being able to work with other people, because I've always been able to work well with people, but that was always one of the masks that I wore. But like I can genuinely deep down inside work with other people because of what I feel. um like my opinion isn't the only opinion that matters, and really opinions shouldn't be in it, but it's about what's for the best, like how can we help the next person, and what's best for this meeting. And beautifully, I felt very blessed to be a part of a, a group that that the business meetings have always gone in a way where it felt good at the end. It wasn't bad, and it was always
You've had
really
some
good, so I felt
tough business meetings too, Brandy. Ooh,
been some
we've
tough
had
ones,
some.
yeah.
I'm really uncomfortable, tough ones, bro. Like,
Yes. But in the end, even though it was uncomfortable, I felt like it was done for the best. There was things that like, it was like, okay, we had to do these uncomfortable things, and I don't think we're done with uncomfortable ones for sure.
No,
And
the traditions are beautiful. They're so beautiful, man. The
yes.
traditions are so strong, man.
And that's, just to kind of go off a little bit, the traditions have helped me stay disciplined in my recovery because
Ooh.
I think that they don't get a lot of light at first. I mean, I was in the beginning was like, I'll get to those when I get to those. And the more I've like learned to love this program, I want to know that I want to learn the traditions more. I hear people talk about them. Actually, Andrew, even your sponsor, like I've gotten a lot from the way he speaks about the traditions on how
He's in
I
a
want to work
tradition
my
study
recovery.
right now. He's in an in-depth tradition study, like step
Yeah.
work study with the traditions right now. Yeah, he's
And that right there, like that's a good example of how, because it does take discipline. There's things the way we talk about stuff and maybe name things or do whatever that isn't the end of the world, but like it's not disciplined either. And I think there's reward and with that. Like that's how I can show my appreciation, my gratitude to the fellowship by speaking the right way, and doing the next right thing and looking out for the addict, not myself, and the whole picture, and not just Brandyland. And because I lived in Brandyland for a long time. Now I live
woo,
in recovery. And
woo.
right?
I think discipline can be layered too. I think it can be layered, right?
Yeah.
Like as you stay disciplined with one thing, and then like you stay disciplined with the step studies, and now like my sponsor is doing a tradition step study, right? Let's
Yeah.
just stay layered, man. Layered knowledge,
And that's
everything is time.
okay.
Yeah,
And that's okay because I came in here wanting to know everything. I wanted to read it and mark the box off and be like, okay, I've done that. And it don't work like that. And maybe it's
yeah.
me. I don't know. But like I've had to work things in steps and like you said, in layers and like, okay, this is what I'm going to conquer today. And even then, I could read something 10 times and literally highlight something different each time. And that's I love that because I love colors. And when I open my books, they're really pretty. And so it's a rainbow of highlight. And
I love hearing her talk about that stuff, bro.
it's so I get giddy when I open my book and I'm like, oh, what color am I going to use today? And but being able to work with others and for me it's taken discipline because even though I've always worked well with others and I love everybody, ultimately my goal was myself and what I wanted. And today I don't have to do that. Today I can embrace other ideas and ways of things to make this ending that we're all going towards beautiful and shows I appreciate the discipline and this fellowship. And if you feel like get stuck in that word discipline, don't look at it like that. Discipline is just it's a way of routine of doing something in a way that works.
I was getting ready to say, and this is a follow-up question for kind of both of y'all, just in the discussion. Why is discipline? Because I think about it like in school growing up, you were disciplined. Like
Yeah.
you were disciplined, right? Like why is there such a negative connotation on that word, do you think?
Because it also used to mean beating your ass with a strap.
But why
Yeah.
why don't they have another why don't they have a different word for these things? Like I feel like so
Yeah.
we're staying
That's a good
disciplined.
question.
We're not being punished. We're
Yeah.
not being punished.
Yeah.
We're not going to detention. Like this is not detention, right?
It takes discipline to also act and react in a way that puts the group's best interest in front of your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I look at it like structure, it's more of a structure and because really you're the only one that's going to get the so discipline if you don't follow through
But
with it or
we're
you
all
don't do the
rolling in
structure.
so selfish and so self-centered.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
actions and our reactions are going to be for ourselves at the start.
And they
Yeah.
say that, and this is another, and as y'all are talking, I'm thinking about this. They say that when you start using drugs, that's when you're like, however old you were, that's when you stop in terms of
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
right? So think about
Yeah.
this. I think that word discipline pertains more to people who are like grown people or people who've been through things, because as a kid, you don't really know discipline.
Yeah.
Like as a child, you're being shown everything and how to do things, right? As a young child, you don't know what discipline is. So like coming up in school, you're disciplined because you weren't disciplined, right? You weren't disciplined coming into
Yeah.
here. So now you must be disciplined. As an adult, you learn that staying disciplined means that we don't have to get disciplined. Staying disciplined
Yeah.
means that we don't have to be reprimanded and disciplined, right? So it's just a different spin on it. As we get older, I think that just naturally rolls into discipline being for consistency and things like that, not like punishment.
Yeah.
It's a positive thing, not a punishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I tried to when I looked up, even though like, if I know the definition of discipline or what it is, but like I always look up the definition of things to kind of like dig deeper. And really I had to kind of take what was there and find that positive in it because it was like to be to be punished or to I don't remember how it said because I just couldn't grasp it. I was like, no, that's not I don't think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
but
that is definitely.
like
we're not talking
you
about punishment.
No,
punishment
no,
and appreciation in the fellowship today.
Because this takes discipline. It takes
I'm going step
self-discipline.
10, you sucker.
Yeah, and we don't discipline anybody.
Maybe
but we
staying disciplined
Yeah.
and appreciation for the fellowship.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I think
got a
it's
question
important, though.
for
like
you,
spankings,
Jason.
like spankings, belt spankings, and appreciation for the fellowship.
Oh, wooden spoons? Shit.
But wooden spoons broke on my ass. Like I had a rock diamond ass.
Yeah.
They would crack it on my, and I would laugh at my mom. I'd be like,
little
I'm
bitch
like,
ass
my
spoon,
butt's harder
bitch
than
ass
your
spoon.
spoon. I'm like, you ain't got a spoon hard enough for this ass.
Eat that spoon for breakfast.
Okay. It takes discipline to keep showing up and appreciation to realize every voice in the circle matters, including your own. So what part of you do you bring to the fellowship that you're learning to value more, Andrew?
Oh man, what part of me? Man, I'm genuine. Man, I'm a real genuine person. My honesty. I bring love. Man, I can't not say love, bro. Love is me. I am love. It's my jam. As long as I can tackle anything with love or approach anything with love, I'm teaching as well as learning while I'm doing it. Being able to know that, like, I mean, I'm not perfect, right? And I don't have to be perfect, and knowing that I'm worth it today is a beautiful thing. Like, I don't have to do anything to be here. I just have the desire to stop using drugs, and I'm a member. When I came here, I felt y'all made me feel really special. Like the people in these rooms really made me feel like a really, really special person. And coming into this, like you just hit on, man, we come in here really beat up. A lot of us don't come in here because we Googled the fellowship and we found a meeting. Because we were like while playing Candyland with Brandi, right? That's not that like we were like playing Candyland and go, hey, let's Google NA fellowship and let's go to a meeting. No, we got thrown in this bitch, man. Or we were in a position where we didn't want to hear this message and it was thrown on us. And due to us just only not wanting to die or be in this facility or institution or jail or hospital or whatever, we chose a little bit of a different way to life, at least one day at a time, because that was important to me, knowing that this is a just for today program and I could stay clean just for today, and that that anybody can do it. Just that's what I was told, and it's hard at first, but once you get a few under your belt, 4, 5, 6 days, then you start getting a little bit proud of yourself. You start walking around a little different. You start maybe holding the door for the person behind you for no reason, just because like it happened.
Yeah,
it happened. You actually have the mindfulness to know that you did it. You probably did it.
Oh, my mom taught me to do that. You hold that damn door. Like that's a boy's responsibility in the world.
Hey, look, and when I was in treatment, there was 70 people. There's 70 dudes, 70 men. Some were from jail and all that shit. There was one guy in there that was just a complete asshole, but he had broke his foot, and I thought he was doing it. Like I thought he did it as a means to get like preferential treatment, and I still to this day think he might have done it because. But look. I think he did, bro. But I used to open the door for him. And there were other people that wouldn't open the door for him. And he, at the end, before he left, he stood up and, you know how you give push-ups and pull-ups at rehab, where it's like people who didn't do well, you pull them up. People who did well, you push them up. He stood up and he turned around and he pointed me out at everybody. And he was like, man, this dude right here taught me some things, man. Like he was, I guess he used to watch and listen to me, how I interacted to people. And he's like, man, this guy has been amazing, like opening the doors, like taking care of me, and like when he didn't have to, and he really put it in a way where like it made me appreciate him a lot more too. But I know he didn't have no broken
No
ass
good
foot.
deed
He
goes
had no broken ass
unnoticed.
foot, bro. I'm telling you, he had no broken ass foot. But I couldn't like kick him in the leg and be like,
Yeah.
He just wanted some T3s.
No, because he could show up really late to all the meetings. Anything, he could just come down the stairs or come down the elevator really late. He could wake up late. Everything that he showed, he would just come
You
late.
were jealous he was sleeping in.
Bro, and then people would open the door for him, and then there's 70 people in this little teeny hall where there's just all chairs, and whoever's sitting up front would have to get up and let the man sit down, right? And they would have to go find another seat. Like, he just had it going on. Look,
He's like, I'm here.
Look, every time, because I worked in the galley, so I had to load up meals. I would have to walk around there, make him a tray or 2 trays, and walk his tray over to his fucking desk where he was sitting, where he decided to sit and move everybody away for that day. He was just that dude. Like, man, F your
I
leg.
had one like that.
Damn, man. You want an extra cookie too, man? Dude. Anyways,
is that gonna help you?
Yeah, right? You choke on this cookie, man. But yeah, that's my answer. I love tantrums, man. Yeah.
I do
too. 3 down. It takes discipline to keep showing up and appreciation to realize every voice in the circle matters, including your own. What part of you do you bring to the fellowship that you're learning to value more?
I always say the world couldn't handle if there was 5 Brandis. And so definitely,
we can try. We can try.
We can try. I do think we all bring something when it, to make the dynamics
painted rocks
that are
everywhere,
there.
boy.
Right? Why not? I mean, we paint them. We don't smoke them no more.
Facts.
And but it's I'm just thinking about it. It's definitely I don't even know the word I'm trying to use for it, but like I can relate with people really, really well, and I can do it in a genuine way. I try to make sure I keep it genuine, because I could like, oh, I can see where you're coming from, but I can see where you're coming from, so I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore, And so it's being able to gather with people and to be able to hear and listen to people, listen to learn, not listen to respond. And because like I know for myself and other people, like, get here, and it's like maybe you don't know your self-worth, or maybe what you think you do know was projected on you by someone else. And like sometimes people just need to like listen and to verbally process things. And I don't know, I feel like I can give someone that space because it was given to me. I was broken when I came in here. When I came into the rooms, I kind of knew where I wanted to be. I wasn't as broken after treatment, but I was still not together. And being able to have a space where I feel safe, so it's maybe like a safety net. But I gotta kind of going off on a tangent too. Like with that, I've also learned that that I can't carry the addict. I can only carry the message. So like I can be there for somebody like no other, but at the same time, I got to know when to set a boundary on it, because easily, I've felt that in my sponsorship journey so far. And just like, I don't even know if it's even the right answer, but just like given that space, and not that everybody else doesn't too, but we all have a different kind of voice. And I feel like I give that kind of voice and those kind of ears that people know they can come to. And with that, I've learned that I need to be honest with people. I don't need to know everything I'm thinking about what they're saying, because some of it could just be really my own feelings. But I'm not going to sugarcoat somebody, for it. Like, well, this is really what I would feel. This is what I see. This is what, if it was me, how I would feel. And I think that's important, because I people please for so long, and it's like, oh yeah, you look great, and be like, holy fuck, she's leaving me out like that. Yeah. So like that that space of like of being able to be oneself and to mess up, and it's okay. Like, just let me help you. Let me show you the way to maybe keep going forward in a different direction. I don't really know if that answered it, but that's what I was feeling right away when you were saying,
it
like,
did.
what you bring.
I loved it. I
Beautiful.
loved it. That was great.
You can't make them drink. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, but you can make them thirsty, right? Step 10 Starcic.
Exactly. Oh, right. Yeah.
You can make them
Very
thirsty.
true.
You can make them
Yep.
thirsty.
I'm always
Very
thirsty.
true.
It takes
I'm
discipline
always
to
thirsty.
to keep showing up and appreciation to realize every voice in the circle matters, including my own. What part of me do I bring to the fellowship that I'm learning to value more? And I think it's two things for me. I think I got a lot of energy, and I think I got a lot of joy that I share. And I think
Mm,
I do a good job at bringing energy to a situation and able to share my joy, like, or try to anyway, with those that are maybe needing a little bit that day.
yeah.
I had somebody at a new meeting I was going to say, like, just almost that. She's like, you bring these two things, like the room's a different color, and I was like,
Hmm.
wow. I'm like, that's pretty much the nicest thing somebody said to me this month. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I like
and
that.
yeah, but
Almost like you're the thermometer or the thermostat of the room. You can really make a difference.
yeah, and I just don't think that people were saying I was lighting up some room like that when in my addiction.
Yeah.
And and I'm learning to value it more because after somebody says something like that, I'm like, wow. I'm like, there's just some people that really need that, you know?
Hmm.
Like, I remember I got really sick after my first COVID vaccine, and I could barely lift my body for 5 weeks. Like, I was like stuck
Wow.
in my bed and just really sick. And that was the first time in my life I was low energy. And I was like,
Mm.
whoa. I'm like, I really, really appreciate having my energy level. Like, it changed
Yeah.
my opinion of lazy people. I'm like, maybe
Yeah.
they just feel like I felt then all the time. It gave me a lot more compassion for other people's potential energy levels because my whole
Yeah.
life I had just been such a high energy level. I was like, you're lazy, lazy, lazy. Like, and it was me, I was judging without ever having experienced the other side. So
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that
I'm
there.
high energies. I'm a
Is
higher energy person.
is
And it's
everybody
to
good
me,
to do a full 2 hours? Like to go
yeah.
like another 23
Or
minutes?
if not, I mean,
I'll just say a little bit less than that, man. I got to get out of here soon, like 15 minutes.
Okay, so then
I'm
let's
sorry.
do everybody gets to ask a question of lightning round.
Bet.
So,
Perfect.
yeah,
You ready for me
okay.
to start?
Yeah, just give me 30 seconds to get the timer. You start asking the question. I'll get the timer
Yeah,
going by the time
absolutely.
you get.
So,
Whoa, I'm faster than that. I'm a high energy guy. I'm already there. I'm
Brandy,
waiting for you.
he's like,
Okay, I can't
how do
take
you,
it. Can't take it.
how do,
Can't take it.
how do you keep your daily routine fresh and not just robotic?
oh, I remember the benefits of my routine. I try to tell myself like, if I don't do this, if I don't do it, then and I'll lose routine. And also, the more I do my routine, the easier it is. Like I'll say cleaning my house, for instance, the first time I start a routine, it's treacherous. By like the third, fourth week I've done it, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get through this. I've done it. And so definitely um just reminding myself the benefits of the routine, and also reminding myself of that I know how I am if I don't stick to a routine. There's
Yeah,
much benefits when it comes to it, because I mentally have to check things off. Like, I know how my life goes if I don't do something. And so yeah, consistency for sure. Look
beautiful.
at that.
Milan,
I love it.
how
Yeah.
do you
Okay.
keep your daily routine fresh and not robotic?
Because I like robot. No, for me, it really has to do with open mindedness, willingness, and being a perpetual student. Like, I
Mm.
am so fascinated by what I've learned in the program. I'm always looking for something new to learn, and I'm always listening for that at meetings, in these podcasts, and then I'm taking that and I'm like just grinding on that in my brain. Like, I'm pushing forward by having an open mind that what I've learned isn't everything to learn, and I'm willing to be wrong and move forward with
Mm.
education.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how do I keep my daily routine fresh and not just robotic? Well, I read a lot of literature, man, and I rotate my literature too. I keep I'll stay in what, the living clean is my favorite, but then I'll go to like the guiding principles, the it works how and why. Like I'll just kind of rotate in terms of like when I'm chairing a meeting, what I want to get into. I pray and that's what gives me my answers in terms of what I do for that day. But yeah, the step work keeps me from not being robotic. And you know why? Because look, you work these steps, right? And then you work them again. And when you work them again and you work them again, and it's a different set of steps. You're a different
Yeah.
person when you work the steps again. You know what I mean? And so that keeps it naturally not so robotic, right? It keeps me from like it's not like you just work these 12 steps and then I'm gonna work them over again in the same way. Like I'm gonna try to answer the same questions with the same words. That's not how this thing works, right? We grow. And so the step work keeps me fresh, keeps me clean, keeps me disciplined. So
Boom.
in today.
Love that.
Right.
Bye. Jason, go
All
to a
right.
Okay, Brandi, you asked me.
Okay. I'm just going off a whim on this one because I'm gonna save my other two questions. Which step took the most discipline for you?
Woo. Okay, the step that definitely took the most discipline was step 11. It was definitely the one that I implemented the least for the longest amount of time. And that's not necessarily the case now, but there was just a big chunk of time where I was good at taking other people's inventories and I shouldn't have been.
Beautiful.
I like that. I like
I'll
that.
I'll
So
take
what
that
step takes
crazy
the most
asshole question.
which step took most discipline?
5.
Mm,
The 4 is very detailed, but then actually trying to get rid of those issues that I had with myself was really, really tough, and it took a lot of discipline. And it's an ongoing work, man. It's an ongoing work trying to remove all my character defects, dude.
yeah.
And my problems and my issues, and try to do them and not be an asshole while I'm trying to remove them. Because when they come out, it's not pretty when they come out. But then once they're out, you show if they stay disciplined, stay in that disciplined lane and don't get off track, man, and stay consistent. You won't fall into that complacent lane, and then we won't be yelling at you to come place that ass in the seat.
Come place that ass in the seat.
Come on, man. Come on. Discipline without gratitude can turn into obligation. Gratitude without discipline fades into complacency. Don't let that shit happen, bro.
Right.
Love you
Place
guys,
that ass
man.
in the seat.
Come place that ass in the
That's
seat.
right. You guys are
Boy.
funny. I love it.
That's
All right. Which step had the most discipline or had the most discipline? I'm gonna just I'm gonna say 7, 10, 11, but to stick to one of them, I was gonna say 10, but really, when you said 11, that was a big one for me because really, like I have a relationship with my higher power, but I tend to forget to pray or to communicate. When times are just what it is. And I'm horrible at meditation, and I say that because I haven't really tried. I've tried, but I haven't really
You're
consistently
like me,
tried.
bro. You're like me, man.
Yeah.
I can breathe. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I want to, I know praying is like talking and meditation is listening and I'm like, how come I can't hear you? Well, you know what? Shut up for a minute and just listen. And so that's a hard one for me. I still I have goals of meditating one day and making it consistent. But I've also learned that my meditation is when I do art, when I go to the river, when I am out of everything else and just focusing.
As Milan would say, have you tried a Dharma meeting?
Dharma recovery.
Dharma recovery meeting. And where's the damn timer? Where the hell are you doing, Step 10 Starcic?
I got
No,
distracted.
we did not hire you to run the door and look at your phone.
I know.
Bro, you got a concealed weapons permit and you're sitting at the door looking at your phone?
That wasn't
got
me.
people stealing shit from the store, man.
That wasn't me, man.
We'll give you one more chance. We'll give you one more chance, Starcic.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
here's the question. Appreciation for the fellowship grows when we realize we're not alone and never were. Question, when did you first feel truly seen or understood by someone in the program?
You asking me?
Yeah.
I felt seen immediately, man. I felt seen immediately when I came in here. I couldn't be unseen when I got in here, man. It was like they were like, "Ooh, new person. We need you." And now I realize how important that shit is, because what is our primary purpose? To carry the message to the addict that still suffers, man. That's our primary purpose, man. Is to kit somebody in here that ain't been in here and teach them what this thing is all about, and how that we can stay clean, and all of us aren't laughing and being like happy just because we're trying to make a show for you. This is not an act. This is not an act, and it's not a cult either. You know, it's not a cult. Even though I was okay with it at first, it's not a cult, because we just give suggestions here. We all work a program to the best of our ability in our own lives, and then we give our own experiences on it. And then if you can gain in that, and you can, you're in a place to receive it, you can get your life back. So, love you guys, man.
Love it.
Love that.
Love it.
Okay. Appreciation for the fellowship grows when we realize we're not alone and never were. When did you first feel truly seen or understood by someone in the program?
Before you say that, does anybody else think about that Michael Jackson song, "You Were Not Alone"? Like when you say that, that's all I can think in my head is that I am here with you. Sorry.
I was thinking Billie Jean is not my love.
That's a better get up. Yeah, I'm like,
You guys are funny. So when I think about that, what comes to my mind right away when you were saying that is not necessarily what I said, or like what it's really like. So I remember my first meeting ever. Somebody told my story, and I was convinced that I wasn't like anybody in that room. They didn't know what I was feeling, what I was going through. Even if I didn't feel like I was like, maybe I'm not bad. Like, did I really do enough drugs to be here? But when I heard my story through somebody else's, right then and there, I felt heard. I felt heard and understood without even speaking. But my name is Brandi, and I'm an addict. At that point, I was sold on this whole recovery thing, and that I was not the solo piece of shit that I thought I was. And so, yeah, listening to someone else.
That was God talking right there, man. God came and went whoosh through that person, whoever that was.
Yeah. Oh man, I've tried to look her up, but I can't find her.
It's God. You can't look God up.
When did I first feel truly seen or understood by someone in the program? It was I got to the treatment center on a Friday night, and I walked in the door, and young Gabriel, man, he was like,
my God.
He was like, "You're in the right place."
Not in the wrong place?
5 words. 5 words that changed my life. 5 words that I say to every newcomer, every meeting I'm at.
Does.
Forever. I do. I'm like, "You're in the right place." And man, life changing.
Yeah.
For once, I wasn't in the wrong place. For once, I felt like, oh, I'm doing the right thing then. Like, it really was a magical, transformative 5 words. Boom. Man, I want to say again, I sure have fun and feel privileged to spend time together.
Yes.
We really, we make some magic together, guys.
Yeah. This was great.
We're staying clean while doing it. Remember 2 things. Discipline without gratitude can turn into obligation, and gratitude without discipline fades into complacency. And guys, structure is freedom. Remember that.
Yes.
Structure is freedom. Discipline's not a bad thing.
Discipline is the keys to freedom. Ping.
It is.
Yes.
Bam.
I love you guys. Tune in next episode for
Thank you,
more
Brandi.
Recovery
Last minute.
Fun.
Yes.
Bye-bye,
Last minute,
everybody.
Love you guys.
Please help
Love
us
you guys.
help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.